Today on Inquirer, DOJ panel of prosecutors denies motion filed by suspended Representative Arnie Teves asking them to inhibit from Degamo slave probe. A day after his appointment, controversial lawyer Larry Gadon bears first project as presidential advisor for poverty alleviation.
Ako ay magkakaroon ng programa na tatawagin kong BBM movement. Okay. Ang ibig sabihin nito ay Batang Busog, Malusog.
Groups question Gadon's appointment. Environment Secretary Antonia Loizaga says Supreme Court order to DENR to help rehabilitate Manila Bay may be hampered by developments. And Senator Robin Padilla says he plans to refile bill on federalism.
Sa lahat po ng pinitahan namin, local official, yung mga civilian, lahat po sila po, pagdating lang po talaga sa sinabi, meron po talaga
Good evening. The Department of Justice panel of prosecutors has denied the motion of suspended Negros Oriental Representative Arnie Teves for them to inhibit from handling the case in connection with the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo. Our Justice reporter Tej Torres Tupas fills us in with the details live. Tej?
The panel of prosecutors has denied the motion filed by suspended Negros Oriental Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. to inhibit themselves from handling the case regarding the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo. Teves' legal team argued that it is no longer appropriate for the Department of Justice to oversee the preliminary investigation, citing Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla's alleged prejudgment of the case. They claimed that the Justice Secretary had identified Teves as the mastermind in his public statements. Teves' camp expressed a preference for the Ombudsman to handle the investigation instead. However, DOJ Assistant Secretary and spokesperson Jose Dominic Clavano emphasized that murder cases, especially those involving multiple casualties like this one, are primarily within the jurisdiction of the DOJ. Clavano highlighted the expertise and willingness of the DOJ prosecutors to try such cases, stating that they possess the highest caliber of skills. Regarding the issue of impartiality, Clavano revealed that the Teves camp and the gunmen were specifically asked if they had any doubts about the independence of the panel of prosecutors. The response from the Teves camp was that they had no doubts regarding the panel's impartiality. Clavano questioned the rationale behind their request to transfer the case to the Ombudsman if they believed in the independence of the current panel. In response to the denial, Attorney Andres Manuel, representing Teves, stated that they requested a written copy of the denial in order to pursue appropriate action. Pamplona Mayor Janice Degamo, the widow of Governor Roel Degamo, expressed support for the panel of prosecutors' decision to deny the motion to inhibit. She commended their thoroughness in studying the case and reviewing documents from all parties involved. Neil?
Tej, given this development, what can we expect from the Degamo case moving forward?
The panel of prosecutors has already set the scheduled dates, July 3 and July 17, for the next preliminary investigation. And Congressman Teves has until July 17 to submit his counter affidavit and evidence.
Thanks, Tej. That's Tej Torres Tupas reporting live. Controversial lawyer Larry Gadon says his first project as the newly appointed presidential advisor for poverty alleviation is a nutrition program called the BBM, Batang Busog, Malusog. In a public briefing, Gadon bared some details of his first initiative as the government's anti-poverty czar, which he expects to launch in July as the country celebrates Nutrition Month.
Ako ay magkakaroon ng programa na tatawagin kong BBM movement. Okay. Ang ibig sabihin nito ay Batang Busog, Malusog. Yan ay kung sila ay kumpleto ng nutrients sa katawan, ay magiging mas maganda ang kanilang focus sa edukasyon at kung sila ay magkakaroon ng magandang edukasyon, yan ay magdudulot sa kanila ng magandang kinabukasan.
Meanwhile, progressive groups have questioned Gadon's appointment as anti-poverty czar and what programs will be created for the poor. Bukluran ng manggagawang Pilipino President Luke Espiritu says the public has a right to know if Gadon has a firm grasp on the causes of poverty and the plans for alleviating it now that he has been appointed to the position. Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas called Marcos's decision a poor choice given Gadon's past controversies. Gadon has been involved in several complaints to debar him, most recently after he berated and cursed a female journalist for raising the Marcos family's unpaid estate taxes. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology says Mayon's volcanic earthquake had further increased to 107. PHIVOLCS recorded Mayon's activity from 5 a.m. on June 26 to 5 a.m. on June 27. Earlier, as many as 100 quakes occurred for the first 10 hours of the measuring period alone. In the previous period, only 102 volcanic earthquakes were recorded. State's volcanologists note that the increase in volcanic earthquakes has begun since June 24. On the other hand, PHIVOLCS logged a decrease in Mayon volcano's rockfall events and the volume of sulfur dioxide flux it emitted. The volcano saw 241 rockfall events with 753 metric tons of sulfur dioxide flux. This is a slight decrease compared to 263 rockfall events and 925 metric tons of sulfur dioxide reported previously. Mayon volcano has been under alert level 3 since June 8, with unrest seen to last for a few months based on the volcano monitor's observations. Environment Secretary Antonia Loizaga says a Supreme Court order to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources to help rehabilitate Manila Bay may be hampered by developments. Loizaga says the DENR is a mandamus agency, which is an agency ordered by the Supreme Court in 2011 to help rehabilitate Manila Bay as per the writ of continuing mandamus. According to the Philippine Reclamation Authority, there have been 22 Manila Bay Reclamation projects from different developers. Loizaga says the developments may impede the DENR's task to implement the mandamus. She adds there are sewage treatment plants that are already in place which may be disturbed by further reclamation activities.
What we are concerned about is our task in terms of implementing that mandamus. Okay, is actually going to be impeded by some of these developments. As you know, in order to treat the water that flows back into the bay. Saan po ilalagay ang mga future STPs at ano pa mangyayari sa mga STPs na nandiyan na in terms of the effluent pathways na in-establish prior to the approval of any of these projects.
The DENR chief says the agency is already looking into possible non-compliance in a certain company, but she did not specify which company this was. Green groups have repeatedly called for a stop to the reclamation and development activities in Manila Bay, citing dangers to the local environment.
They will be called in for a technical conference to see whether may explanation po sila sa mga inobserved na potential non-compliance. And so we're looking at each one of those specific conditions and seeing whether nag-comply na po ba sila.
Senator Robin Padilla is not backing down on his bid for a federal form of government, saying he plans to refile a bill on it. When asked in a press conference if he would give up on his push for federalism, Padilla says he is determined to refile a proposal. Padilla adds that he is hopeful senators to be elected in 2025 would be open to the reform.
Magpapayag na po kami ulit itong pagbubukas ng proseso. Pero inaasahan ko lang po na magkakaroon po ng resulta sa PEP. Kung makakaroon tayo ng mga senador bukas talaga.
Padilla points out that he found it more difficult to clinch support from senators, but those he has spoken to in communities were open to the measure.
Wala po akong nakitang mahirap sa mga tao. Sa lahat po ng pinitahan namin. Local official, yung mga civilian, lahat po sila po. Pagdating lang po talaga sa sinabi, meron po talaga
Interior Secretary DENR Abalos denies reports of reassignment in the Philippine National Police, including the appointment of a new National Capital Region Police Office Chief. According to Abalos, the reassignment of 8 PNP top brass is just a recommendation. Abalos says it should be approved by the National Police Commission for confirmation before the list gets transmitted to President Bongbong Marcos. Social media outlets earlier reported that the PNP had assigned several generals to various key positions in the PNP leadership. This includes the heads of the NCRPO, the Directorate for Intelligence, the Directorate for Investigation and Detective Management, and the Directorate for Logistics. A farmer died after he accidentally touched a live wire while chasing a cat in Mulanay town in Quezon province. The Quezon police reports that Mario Sabalboro and his 14-year-old daughter were chasing a feral cat in Barangay Ilayang, Uni around 10:30 p.m. on Monday. Police say during the chase, Mario accidentally touched a live wire inside a private property and died on the spot. His daughter tried to help her father but was also electrocuted and lost consciousness. According to local authorities, the daughter suffered only injuries and was taken to a hospital in the neighboring town for treatment. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Irvin Santiago ng Bandera. Irvin?
Hi Neil at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe. Ito na nga ang latest Bandera Chika. Inalay ng Kapuso TV host at beauty queen na si Herlene Bodol sa yumaan niyang lola ang lahat ng blessings na natatanggap niya ngayon sa kanyang buhay. Maluhaluhang sinabi ni Herlene o kilala rin sa tawag na Hipon Girl na sana'y maligaya na ang kanyang pinakamamahal na lola na si Nanay Bireng kung saan man ito naroroon ngayon. Ayon sa Kapuso TV host comedian, nanghihinayang siya na hindi na nasaksihan ni Nanay Bireng ang tinatamasan niyang tagumpay ngayon bilang isang artista. Pero umaasa nga siya na super happy ito ngayon sa lahat ng natatanggap niyang proyekto at achievement sa kanyang showbiz career. Kabilang na nga dyan ang kanyang launching series sa GMA7 na Magandang Dilag. Ginawa raw talaga ni Herlene ang lahat para mabigyan ng hustisya ang ginagampanan niyang role sa Magandang Dilag bilang isang babaeng hindi kagandahan na nagparitoke at naghiganti sa mga taong nang api sa kanya. Samantala, tuloy-tuloy din daw ang ginagawa niyang paghahanda para sa paglaban niya sa Miss Grand Philippines 2023 at umaasa siya na may uwi niya ang titulo at korona para sa bansa.
If buhay si Lola, I'm sure you're very close with your Lola, ano kaya masabi niya sa'yo?
Ayan, sayang, hindi niya ako naabutan yung ganitong.
Pero I'm sure she's very proud of you.
Sana po. Nay, I love you so much. Isa to sa mga regalo ko sa'yo. I love you. Sana nakikita mo ko ngayon. Sobrang happy ko po. Pinagsasabay ko po. Pag wala pong taping, nagre-rehearsal po kami. Nagpapasarela, training. Ayan.
At yan ang Bandera Chika natin today. Thanks, Neil.
Maraming salamat, Irvin. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.